Geisner Makers, welcome to this week's edition of Wednesday Workshop. We are so delighted that you are here to join us today, and thank you to those that joined us last week for our debut week. So today what we're going to talk about is Embroidery Foundations. So it's a little bit of back to basics. You know, I know many of you have been embroidering for some time, and then there are some of you who are brand new to embroidery, and there are some of you who are thinking, is machine embroidery right for me? So there's going to be a little something in here for all of you. So the design that we're going to be working with today is from Oklahoma Embroidery Supply and Design. And they have actually two different variations of each design in this set. One is meant for just what I would call flat embroidery or traditional embroidery. You can use the files. They do have this straight stitch line around the outside if you wanted to create ornaments or gift tags. And then there's also a second variation. Jody, would you give me one with buttonholes in it? Perfect. With buttonholes through which you could put lots of different small gift items. It could be candy canes, it could be tweezers, it could be a purple thing. It could be, you could roll up money and slide it right down in there too if you wanted to. A check, right? Check.
Yeah. A daily affirmation for your children.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Oh, that's a very cool idea. So lots of different things that you could slide down in here. So we're going to show you how to stitch these out successfully. Now, in addition to that, you know, I know when I buy design collections or I get something new, you know, I really like it if there are a lot of different ways that I can use that particular collection. So between the two of us over this past week, we've sewn up several variations or ways that you can use these designs in addition to their original intention. Now, I mentioned that these come from OESD, or Oklahoma Embroidery Supply and Design. They can be purchased as a direct download from our website, and shortly Jody's going to show you exactly how to do that. We'll take you through how to purchase the designs, and this would work for any designs that you're downloading and purchasing online. And then she's going to show you how to get them from your computer into your machine. They don't do us any good sitting there on our PCs. So we'll take you through that process as well. All right, so to start, let's take a look at the variations on the projects because I think it's kind of fun to get an idea or a feel for where we're going. So what have we got over here in the front, Jody?
Well, what is funny is because we didn't tell each other what we
not.
were doing. She just said, okay, these are the designs we're going to do, and we just both just went with it. So,
and I think it's interesting too to see the color variations, right? This is the same design. On this one, now the instructions call for felt. This is stitched on embroidery leather, and we do have this in several colors here in the store. This one is a totally different, more traditional colorway, which is really sweet. And then here, it's that same kind of funky colorway, but it was used to do a small flange pillow. Spoiler alert, next week's workshop, Wednesday, I will take you through how to create a flange pillow. And this would be appropriate, you know, regardless of what you want to put in the center. It could be a fabric panel. It could be something that you've embroidered. Now, experienced embroiderers know that you should always test your embroidery designs. There are two types of embroiderers, those who test and those who wish they had tested their designs. So what are you going to do with all of those test sew-outs, right? This is a great use for those test sew-outs. Now, what else did you create over here? These are some
well, and then I took one of the flat designs and I made a pin cushion out of it because I had these really cute pins.
I love it.
So I thought, well, that was kind of a fun little thing to do.
Perfect gift for sewing friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I took one of the buttonhole ones, and actually this is created from the machine for the lettering. The design is an OESD, and the outside is a Kimberbell.
It's an In the Hoop project, right?
It's an In the Hoop project. So we also are going to show you how to take all parts of different designs and create a completely different design what it was originally started out to be, just not this week. We're going to save it for another fun time.
Exactly, because that's a whole workshop in and of itself.
Yes.
All right, and then the other project that we have stitched up using those designs is just a little child's t-shirt. Could be an adult t-shirt that you do this on. But one of the things I think that sets apart a really well completed embroidery project from something that's more of a novice looking design, is I stitched the design out on the t-shirt and I looked at it and I thought, well, it looks like I just dropped an embroidery design on the t-shirt. So I thought, well, what can I add to this? And I remembered I had been working on my embellished license to create projects, and there was a really sweet little snowflake design. So I took that snowflake SVG file from my license to create USB stick, shrank it up so that the scale was appropriate for the design, and cut it out of a heat set foil. Okay, so super, super quick, super easy. Because they are very small and they end up very delicate here in the center, my vinyl blade was really super helpful to make sure that it cut nice and cleanly and I didn't have any little bits. Now the next project that we're going to show you, this is just for inspiration, but while I was there, I'm like, I really, really love these snowflakes. And again, I had all of my license to create goodies out. So I cut a few more snowflakes out using some heat set glitter. Scaled them again, and this was one of the things that really shows off the advantage of using the scanner on your scan and cut, because I only had a little bit of that vinyl left over. And then the Believe foil, that design is also from the license to create embroidery USB stick or SVG file. Isn't that fun? Just a ready-made pillow and just heat set the foils and the vinyls on there. It was super quick, and in fact, I was working on this while the designs were embroidering, right? So your time, you really can be doing double duty while you are embroidering. Okay, so that's a look at the one more project. Oh, let's talk about this one more project.
So I was trying to think of something just a little bit different to do with other than just ornaments and stuff. So I did a Google search for free fabric baskets. And I mean, there was tons of them. And so this one was really, really fast. And so I thought, wouldn't that be cute? Now, if you're really nice, you can like load it up with goodies.
I used it to put like some of our scraps down in
it. Yeah. But I mean, fat quarters as a gift.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Or even for tidying up in your own sewing area, you need places to put your smaller rolls of stabilizer and vinyls and that kind of thing.
So it was really, I mean, it sewed together really, really fast. It took longer to embroider than it did to sew together.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and what I like too about these is there's a mix of things that could be used all winter long, as well as the ones that really are specifically for the Christmas holiday.
Yes.
And again, changing out your colors, right? This is a great all winter long project to have sitting around. So now that we've taken a look at the projects and we've gotten inspired, we're going to walk over to take a look at some of the basic embroidery supplies that I strongly recommend that you have on hand. Again, whether you're brand new to machine embroidery or whether it's something that you've been doing for a long time. Sometimes a little refresher is new. I've been doing machine embroidery for longer than I care to share with you, and the products do change over time. So staying up to date and current with what's out there and what's available is going to help to make your embroidery project that much more successful. All right, cameraman Joel, should we take a look at some of these foundation products?
Yeah, what do we got?
So we're going to take a look now at some of the products that you will want to have on hand for successful embroidery. A couple of things that are absolutely key. One is having the right stabilizer. Stabilizer's job is to hold those stitches on your fabric over the lifetime of your project. There are three basic types of stabilizer, and they're categorized by the way that they are removed. There's cutaway, tearaway, and washaway. Now within each of those three categories, there is a large variation of different types. I kind of refer to those as stabilizers that do tricks. But for today's purposes, we're going to talk about the basics. So cutaway stabilizer. Always use a cutaway unless there's a reason that you need to go to a tearaway. And as we go through, we'll talk about some of those reasons why. Now, if I could only have one or maybe two stabilizers on hand, cutaway stabilizers, I would have a traditional medium weight cutaway stabilizer on hand, and I would also have a poly mesh or mesh type stabilizer on hand. The mesh type feels a little like a paper towel. It's kind of that consistency, and it's nice for your lighter weight fabrics and textiles. So the t-shirt that I showed you, the t-shirt was done with a poly type stabilizer or a mesh type stabilizer. Now, your cutaway or your tearaway stabilizers also come in different types and different weights. I really like, if I only could have one, I would choose a fusible bold tearaway. I really like that one because if I need to, I can adhere it. It's a temporary adhesion to my fabric, but it's nice and crispy. So it's going to support my stitches, and then it's going to tear away very easily for me. You can use multiple layers of stabilizer at a time, but that's one of those things that experience is going to help you determine, do I need something bolder, crisper, softer? What is it I need? So again, back to that, testing your embroidery, the more you test, and the more often you embroider, the more comfortable you're going to be making the right stabilizer choice right at the beginning. Now, water-soluble stabilizers, those really are specialty items. They rinse away. Sometimes they're used on the bottom as a stabilizer, but not very frequently because they don't have a lot of structure or a lot of stability to offer. They're best for outline type designs, redwork type designs, something that's very soft and not very dense at all. The other thing that water-soluble stabilizers are typically used for, and these are heavy water solubles, is if I'm creating standalone lace. But those are specialty things. Those are not your everyday basic embroideries. The other thing that water-soluble is most often used for, or the thing it's most often used for, is as a topper. So if you have a fabric that tends to have, or that has a lot of texture to it, t-shirts, polo shirts, terry cloth, velour, velvet, a little water-soluble stabilizer on the top of your embroidery in conjunction with your traditional stabilizer on the bottom is going to help to keep the embroidery up on the top of the project and not sinking down into the fibers of the fabric. So I know that that's just a very quick overview, but your rule of thumb, cut away unless there's a reason, then you can go to tear away. Now, as far as the size of the rolls, that's going to be dependent on the largest hoop that you have for your machine. If you're just getting started and you're not wanting to invest in 16 rolls of stabilizer all at once so that you have all the different sizes, get the largest size stabilizer for your machine's hoop. You can always cut it not just in lengths as you roll it, but you can cut it this way as well when you're removing it from the roll of stabilizer. So I think that's a really handy thing to keep in mind. Now, the other thing that you're going to want to have on hand, of course, is thread. When you're first getting started, it can be a little daunting. What colors do I get? So there's some really nice small starter packs of Mettler Polysheen thread. This is an embroidery weight thread. It has a nice sheen to it. They're not huge spools of thread. So, you know, if you thought I'm going to be embroidering and using a lot of lime green and you find that you don't, then you haven't made a huge investment. Of course, if you find, you know, the 3 or 4 spools that you go through quickly, those are the ones you want to get in the larger spools. Okay, so good quality thread. We really like Polysheen. We like Floriani's thread, and we really like Isacord embroidery thread as well. They hold up nicely over time and to the high speeds of your embroidery machine. Now, a couple of just random things. Oh, you need a good pair of scissors or trimming scissors. So this is the limited edition embroidery set. It has a nice pair of snips for getting into tiny, tiny spots. You can see how delicate those little points are at the end, so you can get in very close. There are times when you're trimming applique and you need to get in tight to a curve or a point. Those are going to work really well. This is a nice curved set for getting down into the hoop and clipping away threads. And then this pair, if you are stitching something where, especially lettering, you've got some jump stitches, this little hook is going to get down underneath those threads, those floating threads, and you're going to be able to snip them away nice and cleanly. So this is a great set of tools to keep nearby when you're embroidering. There are times when you're doing machine applique or where you're doing specialty techniques. In the hoop projects are very, very popular right now. And so embroidery perfection tape is very handy for holding those floating pieces on your hoop so that they don't end up dancing around and then you really don't get the result that you want. Now, 2 more items that I want to share with you before we go over to the machine and we stitch out today's project. There are machines out there today that have cameras, they have scanning functionalities, and they make it extremely, extremely simple for you to position your design. But that's not the majority of machines that are out there. And especially for those of us first getting started, we may not be starting at a top of the line machine. So this is template Tearaway. And by the way, this is very helpful for those of us that do have cameras and do have scanners, because there are times that we may want to audition an embroidery design on a garment or other item. So this would be run through your printer, and it would print a template or it's going to print the image of your design. Then you can take this, it's an adhesive product, peel off the backing, and then you can position it on the item that you're going to be embroidering. Now, if I'm going to be embroidering my top, I might want to print my design and then experiment or audition with the proper placement of the design on my garment so that I don't end up with it in an awkward location. It is reusable. You don't stitch through it, so you can always remove it from the project. And if you're doing multiples of something, you can use it over and over and over again. So we'll show you how that works. Then for fabrics that need a little extra support, this is in addition to, not instead of, traditional embroidery. I use something like a dream weave anytime that I'm embroidering on a knit fabric. Knits have a lot of stretch and a lot of give. So I will fuse this to the back of the knit. It's going to keep the fabric from stretching while I'm embroidering, and it's going to hold up that embroidery over the lifetime of the project. So to me, this is a non-negotiable when you are embroidering on knit fabrics. You need to have this dream weave back behind there to hold your fabric properly. There's nothing worse than wiggly, stretched out embroidery design. So that's going to really help you to be successful. So quick recap, what do you need? You need a great design file, and Jody's going to show you how to purchase those online, how to download them and get them into your machine. You need a great stabilizer, you need a good pair of scissors, and you need excellent thread. Then all you need is your machine. So cameraman Joe, let's head over to the machine and let's see how we get those designs from our imagination to our projects. Are we ready?
Yep.
So to stitch out today's project, we are going to use the Brother 1600E. This is a standalone embroidery machine. It does have, Jody, would you pick up that hoop right there? It does have a nice large embroidery field, and it is really a phenomenal price point as well. And you can check this out on our website or in any of our 5 store locations in Sacramento, San Jose, Santa Rosa, Folsom, or Roseville. Before you make a trip out, do call to make sure they have one on the floor. These machines do turn pretty quickly. But it is embroidery only. Again, it's that 10 by 6 plus size embroidery field, which is a great place to start. It's not too small. It's going to give you a lot of space to grow if you are brand new to embroidery. If you already have a sewing machine that you love, it's a great place to look and to start your journey into machine embroidery. If you already have a top-end machine and you need another machine to have so that you can double up your embroidery, it's really nice for that as well. So great for beginners, easy to use. You can combine designs, you can add lettering, you can change colors, you can move designs around on the screen so they're in exactly the right place for you to embroider them out. All of the tools that you need right on the screen to get you going successfully with embroidery. So Jody, are you ready to show them now how to get that design that you downloaded from the website into the machine and onto the fabric?
I am. I have the magic stick.
All right. Well, let's
Here we go. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to get the design onto your USB stick and out of the computer so that you can take it over to your sewing machine so you can stitch away. So we're going to go to meisnersewing.com. And we're going to place our mouse pointer over sewing, and we're going to get a drop-down menu. And we're going to go to embroidery designs, and we're going to click on that. And we're going to scroll down, and you're going to see Embroidery Design Studio. You're going to click on that. And we're now at OESD, Embroidery Online. And we're going to scroll down to where it says Scissor Tail Stitches. And that's where that design is from. And in here, we're going to scroll till we're going to search for our design. We're going to do a search for candy holders. And then we're going to hit the little eyeglass and it's going to search for candy holders, and it's going to pull up anything that they have that holds candies. And this is exactly what we had stitched today. So I'm going to click on Quick View. I'm going to add it to my cart. And we're going to proceed to the checkout. If you have not purchased a design from Scissor Tail Stitches, you will need to create an account. I have purchased from them, and so my email and my password are in there. And I'm going to click sign in. And then I'm going to go continue. I'm going to give them all my information. And now I can either pay with a credit card or PayPal. Once I've designated which one I'm going to use, I'm going to click place order. It's either going to charge my credit card or my PayPal account. As soon as the funds have been funded to Scissor Tails, they are going to give you a download. I've already purchased this design, so I'm not going to obviously place this order because I already own this design. And once that has been purchased, I will click on it on the notice that says download. When I click on the download, it will go to a folder on my desktop. Okay, so after I have downloaded my purchase design, I now go to my folder in File Explorer and I click on downloads. And there is my design that I downloaded and I had purchased from the internet. Now mine has a different date on it because I purchased it several months ago, but your date will be the day that you purchase yours. So the next thing I need to do is get it from my download file out of my computer onto my USB stick. So there are several ways of doing it, but I am just going to click and drag it. So I left click and I drag and I drop it onto my F drive, and it has now made a copy there. And if I click on my F drive, it now shows that it's in that folder. I now come over to my little V over here. I don't know what it's called. And I click on the icon that looks like a USB stick. And it says safely remove hardware and eject media. I click on that, click on the storage. It's now says it's safe to remove from my computer, and it's now ready to go to my sewing machine. Okay, so now I have hooped my towel. I have placed on my template. Now, if you'll notice, my template is now telling me that my design is now going in this direction instead of straight this way. So, and I'm using a 5x7 hoop. This hoop does not come with the machine, but you can purchase it as an add-on. And it's really, sometimes you need a smaller hoop. You don't want to do a small item and have a big hoop. So you want to make sure that you do purchase the smaller one because you'll use it a lot. Okay, so now I'm ready. My design is now on my USB stick. I'm going to insert it to the USB port over on the side. I come to my emblem of the USB. And this says I have 4 pages of designs. And on the last page, there is my design. And I'm going to hit set. Now you notice on the screen, it's going north and south. I really need it to go east and, it's going east and west. I need it to go north and south now. So I have it, I can move it. I can size it or I can rotate it. So I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. Well, my design on my screen looks exactly like my design on my hoop. So you're going to say, okay, I'm done editing. I'm going to now hit embroidery. I'm threaded. I'm going to take off my template. And these templates are reusable until they're no longer sticky. As you can tell, these are really quite sticky. And we're ready to go. Put your foot down. When it turns green, it's ready to start stitching. Okay, so now that is our final stitch out, and we're ready to take it out of the hoop. So all I need to do is trim a couple of threads, and voila, there's our Noel tea towel.
No, you spelled my name wrong. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think we could put it back in there and put your name up in there. It has the ability to add names, just like I did on this.
I think it's okay. It looks great, Jody.
Okay, we'll just leave it at Noel.
So, Meisner Makers, thank you all for joining us for another Workshop Wednesday. I hope that this has been informative, that you have been inspired. Remember that next week we will be stitching out little flange pillows. I think it's a great project, whether you are an embroiderer, whether you have been collecting panels, or you just have a special piece of textile that you want to showcase in one of these great little small pillows. So we'll do the flange pillow in next week's edition. If you have questions about anything that you saw today, remember that you can contact us at info@meisnersewing.com. Be sure to post your questions, your comments, your thoughts. If there's something that you'd like to see in a future episode of Workshop Wednesday, let us know. We're here for you. Thank you, Jody, and thank you, cameraman Joel, and we'll see you next week.
And I'll learn how to spell Joel next week.
Yay.